I'm here with artist Janet Clazy, and she has just finished her latest work, which is called Joshua.
Paul. Joshua Paul. For those,
And it is what?
well, for those of you who have been with me, you know that this is a painting that incorporated the use of his ashes. Joshua Paul is a young fellow who was killed in a hit and run, lived on for another 6
My
years.
son.
It is your son, and I got a lot of information from you and from Dolly.
Let's talk about that. I'm going to come closer to the painting itself. Now, we talk about using his ashes. What are you saying?
Well, we did a base first, a base color, and then we put some varnish on. The very first thing we did with this painting was sprinkle his ashes over the painting. So we got a lot of base with just ashes on it. And before we ever painted a thing, we put those ashes on and then we varnished it again to make them adhere to the painting. So it was literally, we were literally painting into the painting, the body of Joshua Paul. And we chose a base
And
color.
for those who, don't know, he was my 8-year-old son who was hit and run by a car. So you can see we symbolize the presence of wheels in his life. He was driving a tricycle and he was hit and run by a car.
One of the things that an interesting detail is that there were actually 7 wheels involved in the accident. 3 wheels of the tricycle, which in my mind were these 3. Then there were actually 4 wheels in the car. The big wheel, the medium wheel, this wheel, and this small wheel. Then I added a final wheel, which was the wheel of heaven that took Joshua finally to take him away from his pain. So, but there are all the wheels of the accident, and then there is the wheel of life and life hereafter.
And the night of his accident, he was struck so hard that he was knocked out of his tennis shoes. So you beautifully included the tennis shoes with the essence of his lost blood into the picture.
We did.
And later, when they delivered me his pants after the accident, he had a tiny ball of string in his pocket. I don't know what it was. I don't know what significance it had, but I always remembered that tiny ball of string in an 8-year-old's pocket. And you symbolized that beautifully here among the ashes.
Looks like it just got pulled out of his pocket.
It does.
Then I talked to you and I talked to your wife, Dolly, about some of Joshua's favorite things. And first thing that popped up without even thinking, Optimus Prime.
That's right, Transformers and Optimus Prime.
Transformers and Optimus Prime. So he's there in a primal position. And of course, Joshua was an 8-year-old boy, so he loved cartoons.
Yeah.
So we put in some typical cartoon
Laughing
smiles.
smiles. He was a smiler.
He was a smiler. Cartoons are smiley. I wanted to make sure that one set of lips was specifically female, because there are females in cartoons.
And
of
there's
course-
females in his life that loved him.
Exactly.
And the tribute to the women who would have loved him
Exactly.
had he lived.
Which in his own 8-year-old way, he was aware of.
And then we have down here inside the circles these
JPs.
JPs
Some initials
that appear
that come down
for
through the
Joshua Paul
spokes. JP,
through the spokes.
JP, 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 JP.
So as I back off here and we look at it as a whole, you see the collage of a young boy's life surrounded by his ashes. And it shall hang here and shall stay here.
As a tribute and a memorial. to
You did such a
Joshua
beautiful
Paul.
job with this.
Thank you for your contributions to help me know. I feel like I know Joshua Paul myself just from being able to memorialize his life in this really inspirational way.
So for each and every one of you, I will hold this pose for a moment and give you a chance to look. Thank you all very much. And thank you, Joshua Paul, for coming into our lives.